Hi, my name is Dawn Jacobson, athletic trainer at Black River Memorial Hospital. My purpose today is to spend a few minutes revisiting concussion recognition and management and to clear up some of the common misunderstandings about concussions.
To start, a concussion is not simply seeing stars or getting your bell rung. A concussion is a traumatic brain injury. Most people assume that the brain sits very securely within the skull. However, more accurately, the brain floats within a clear fluid within the skull. This is much like the example of an egg, with the egg yolk depicting the brain and the shell being the skull. However, unlike the eggshell with a smooth inner surface, the skull is full of jagged ridges, as you can see in this example. Imagine the delicate brain tissue slamming into these jagged ridges. Tissue damage occurs, causing swelling and a cascade of other changes within the brain. This is a concussion.
Some common signs and symptoms of concussions include headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, difficulty concentrating, sensitivity to light or noise, and memory loss.
Per the Wisconsin concussion law and the WIAA, any student athlete suspected of having concussion must be removed from practice or play immediately. The determination for returning to practice or play must be made by a medical professional. It is important to note that any coach, player, or parent is not to make that determination. If there is any suspected head injury or head trauma, a medical professional must make that clearance for return to play.
Moving on, let's address a few common misunderstandings about concussions. Answer true or false to the following statements. If after getting hit in the head, I only have a slight headache but no other symptoms, I do not need to be evaluated for a concussion.
False. While it is possible to have a headache and not have a concussion, it is also very possible for a headache to be the only symptom of a concussion. If an athlete sustains a blow to the head and has a headache that he or she did not have prior to sustaining that blow, it is reason to suspect a concussion, and the athlete should be evaluated by a medical professional. Evaluation may or may not lead to a diagnosis of a concussion, but it is important that any time an athlete has a headache resulting from a blow to the head, that a medical evaluation be performed.
When it's an important game, it is okay for me to wait to get checked out till after the game.
False. No game is so important that it's worth risking your life. If you sustain another blow to your head prior to your brain healing from a concussion, you can have second impact syndrome, which results in severe swelling and bleeding in the brain and has a death rate of 90%. Second impact syndrome can occur from two blows within the same game, or can occur from two blows that occur several weeks apart if the brain hasn't healed in between.
The length of recovery from a concussion can be predicted based on initial symptoms.
False. Length of recovery has no relationship to the severity of the initial symptoms. One athlete may be unconscious on the field and yet be cleared to play within 1 to 2 weeks, while another athlete may have very mild symptoms initially, but then take 6 weeks or more to be cleared to return. The length of recovery is solely dependent on the symptoms and how long they last. It is impossible to predict from the front end how long it will take.
All concussions result in blacking out or loss of consciousness.
False. Less than 10% of concussions result in a loss of consciousness. Symptoms of a concussion can range from major to very mild. Do not assume just because an athlete remained conscious that a blow to the head is not a big deal.
The best treatment for recovery for a concussion is rest.
True. When recovering from a concussion, the basic principle is rest. This includes not only physical rest, but also cognitive rest. The brain needs an incredible amount of energy to heal from a concussion. The more energy you spend doing other things, the less energy is spent to heal your brain.
Here are a few things to keep in mind when recovering from a concussion. Do not engage in any physical activity. Complete rest is not necessary, but you should avoid sports participation and other moderate to high intensity activities. Limit screen time, such as watching TV, using your smartphone, or using the computer. Avoid places where you'll be exposed to bright lights and loud noises, and work with your physician and school counselor to make a plan for returning to school. It may be necessary to miss school for a couple of days or only attend half days to allow your brain time to recover.
By taking care of yourself and allowing your body a chance to rest during the first few days following concussion, you can limit the total time needed for recovery. With concussions, healing takes time. There's absolutely nothing you can do to speed up the healing process, but there's plenty you can do to slow it down. Make sure that you avoid anything that increases your symptoms and spend the first few days focusing on rest and recovery. Knowing all of this, the most important thing you can do when you get hit in the head is to tell someone. Tell your coach and parents so that you can be evaluated by a medical professional and know that it is safe to keep playing. If you have any questions about concussions or any athletic injuries, feel free to reach out to me or anyone on our sports medicine staff. We're here to help.